Nick, Wild Web, Heavyweight, 11-0, 9 knockouts. Subscribe to Sporting Icon for your latest boxing news. Come!
So unbeaten 7-0 prospect Daniel Dubois, a heavyweight of course, has said that he believes it won't be long before he's in title contention, so fighting for championship belts. But of course he's going to leave that up to his management team, and I'll get into Daniel Dubois, his statement. I'm still learning and I'm still moving forward. I've got a lot to learn, but so far so good. It's livening up here domestically. There's lots of new challenges and lots of new faces, and some are coming back like Tyson Fury himself. It's livening up nicely and will all be good competition. As far as titles go, I'm leaving that up for my management team and everyone, but I think pretty soon, definitely, I'll be challenging. So that is Daniel Dubois' statement. I mean, how soon is soon? I don't know. I mean, obviously, as a fighter, you want to kind of get there as soon as possible, right? But Daniel Dubois, who has limited and very, very limited amateur experience, so he didn't learn too much, so now he's learning on the job. And for me, he turned pro way too soon. He should have at least looked at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics and then turned pro. That's just my own personal opinion. I think that the more amateur fights that he has, the better it would have been for his long-term career. But Frank Warren was so desperate to try and get the next Anthony Joshua that he pulled Daniel Dubois out and put a few coins in his hand and turned his head. So we'll really have to wait and see, and hopefully he's not going to be rushed. So when he says soon for a title challenge, I'm hoping not too soon, right? Now, he does have a fight coming up with Tom Little next, and I believe that'll be for the English heavyweight title. So again, you know, that's just one step. It's a progress one, and the fighters that Daniel Dubois has been in with so far, people complaining, but, you know, of course, people want to see him in there with bigger and better competition, but it's unfair to ask that. He's only 20 years old, you know. He's going to be 21 in September, so he's still quite a way off of even being 21 years old. So the level of competition that he's been fighting is acceptable. It really is. Of course, he's blasting these people out, but he's not learning too much other than the fact he can punch and get an experience of fighting in a live environment. So that's pretty good. Now, Tom Little, again, unfortunately, he's turned into a journeyman real quick. It's what he has. You know, his last fight, he came to fight against Hershevich, but, you know, he did okay, but ultimately he got stopped, and this isn't the first loss in his career. He's a bit of a talker, and he will come to fight, so he will come to try and cause an upset on Daniel Dubois. But really, would it be an upset if Tom Little chinned him and beat him? Would it really be? Because, as I said, Daniel Dubois turned pro way too soon. On the other side of the scale, you've got Joe Joyce, turned pro way too late, in my opinion. So, you know, there's a medium to be had there. But ultimately, hopefully, his lack of amateur experience isn't going to hurt him long term. He should beat Joe Joyce based on his recent performances. But I'm hoping he's going to go a few rounds, and I hope Tom Little puts it on him, just so we can see what it is that Daniel Dubois is made of. He needs people to push him around, you know, to maybe beat him over a couple of rounds, and then ultimately Daniel Dubois will topple them before the end of the fight and maybe beat them on points. You know, he needs rounds is what he needs. Blasting people out is no good. We've seen that in the old days with Frank Bruno. He was doing exactly what Daniel Dubois was doing right now, where he's taken on smaller fighters, fighters who were even below journeyman level, and he was blasting them out in 1 or 2 rounds. And then when it came to a real legitimate elite challenger, Bruno got blasted out because he wasn't used to going the distance, you know. And maybe this could be with Daniel Dubois. But of course, we did say that with Anthony Joshua as well. How would he be? Because he's blasting people out. How's he going to be when he starts going a few rounds? But Anthony Joshua, while his amateur experience is limited, he only had 45 fights. But of course, he did go to the Olympics, which of course is a baptism of fire, no doubt about it. But he's done well, exceptionally well, as a pro. So, you know, a lot of people see Daniel Dubois as the next thing. But remember, he could be the next thing. But as of right now, he's not. Okay, he could be Neo from the Matrix, maybe. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Let's not rush him, okay? I mean, I want to see him in there. I want to see him hit his full potential. I want to see how good he is and how good he's going to be. But we're not going to see it tomorrow, and we're not going to see it next week either. We need to wait for quite a while. Okay, so anyway, so for him to say that, although it's pretty good that he is talking about the domestic scene rather than the world scene. So of course he's talking about Tyson Fury, he's talking about Joshua, and Nick Webb, Dave Allen, Nathan Gorman. There's quite a few people around at domestic level that he should concentrate on first. Now, of course, Frank Warren, who is his promoter, he seems to have, I don't know, some kind of influence over the WBO. So fully expect Daniel Dubois to be ranked by the WBO at some point, and pretty soon, much like Anthony Yarde is. And, you know, he becomes a mandatory or #1 contender for the WBO at light heavyweight. That's too soon. You see, Frank is putting these guys in a position which looks good on paper, but they're not ready for the title challenge. Ultimately, Anthony Yarde, he turned down Arthur Beterbiev for the title. So there's no point in him being there. And I can see the same thing happening with Daniel Dubois. He's going to become a mandatory or #1 contender for the WBO within the next year or so. And he's not going to be ready. He's not going to be ready for Anthony Joshua. And I have heard people saying that Daniel Dubois would beat Anthony Joshua now. Daniel Dubois would beat Tyson Fury. Daniel Dubois would... No, he wouldn't. I'm telling you, he wouldn't. Okay, he's 20 years old. He's still wet behind the ears. He wouldn't. He's got the power. No doubt about it. He's got the power to put out any heavyweight. But how does he react when they put it on him? How does he react when he starts getting hit hard with those smaller gloves on? So that's what I'm kind of hoping, that Tom Little is going to put it on him. Of course, I want Daniel Dubois to win, and I would love it if Daniel Dubois is the next thing, the next big thing. I would love that, of course. But of course, I don't pin all my hopes on Daniel Dubois and it ends there. Not at all. There's so many heavyweights that we have that are exciting, that could well be better than Daniel Dubois at some point. What would happen if you put Daniel Dubois in there with Dave Allen right now? That isn't going to last one round, is it? That could potentially go the distance. Dave Allen will put it on him. Nick Webb, exactly the same. If Nick Webb catches Daniel Dubois, Dave Allen, if he catches Daniel Dubois, could legitimately knock him out cold. It could happen. So, anyway, let's see what happens. Hopefully they don't rush him. So when he says soon, let's hope not too soon. That's just my opinion. I want him to progress slowly and correctly. That's what I want. Don't throw him in deep water before he can swim. That's all I'm kind of hoping for. So anyway, drop your thoughts below on Daniel Dubois and how is it that you see his career going so far, and obviously his 8th fight is set to be against Tom Little again. For me, that's a good step up, I suppose, and we'll have to wait and see what happens in that fight and then ultimately going forward. But what I don't want to see him doing is Frank Warren pushing the WBO to rank him too early. He could well be the real deal, but I would rather he learned and progressed correctly. That's just my opinion. So drop me yours, of course. Click that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.